watch, or join.
It's always been like a little tension between the East and all the other sides, like North, South, and West, just because their culture is so different from compared to what ours is on the other side. But we still all one city, bro. And you could tell they from St. Louis too. Because St. Louis is very small, man. Very small. It's not as big as people think it is. It's very small. Everybody know everybody.
Right. I mean, so in recent years, y'all kind of get more attention for the violence that's
Yep.
there. Um, do you attribute any of that violence to the native roots of the land, the people, the original people of the land? Because I know you mentioned Choctaws and stuff like that. And in the Midwest, it seems as though when you start talking about the indigenous culture, you can't help but to bring up the warrior nations of the area. So do you connect that with being descendants of the warrior nations and the warrior tribes?
I do, brother. I do. And you know what, I'm gonna be honest. It was hard for me to even say this, but it is. It's the truth. I do. We do connect that to because that's in our blood. That's in our
Right.
blood. That's just who we are. And that goes for all of us. That's who we are. We got that warrior spirit, that competitive nature, that I ain't gonna back down spirit. And yeah, St. Louis has always been, man. I'm gonna tell you something. St. Louis has been this way since the 80s. Since the 80s, man. When all that gang stuff came out, you had Los Angeles that came down and actually initiated St. Louis. I was there. I seen it as a little kid, man. I seen it all, and that's where all the violence comes from. Because if you even know the history, you listen to Ice Cube, right? Ice Cube got a song called "Summer Vacation." On that song, he said, "My partner got shot. He's a goner. Black St. Louis niggas want their corner back." You see, he said
Right.
that because during that time you had a lot of the LA gang members that was coming down to St. Louis trafficking drugs. So while they were down in St. Louis, they was teaching us the gang culture, and they
Right.
initiated St. Louis. Like, right, you had LA gang members on every neighborhood initiating all of our neighborhoods, teaching us what this sign mean, what that sign mean, what Bloods were, what Pyrus were, treetops, six deuce brim, whatever it was. That's how we got initiated. And I was right there as a little kid, man, seeing all of this. And
I
that's
mean,
where they developed that spirit from, that battle mentality on top of what's in their blood, and that's where the violence comes from.
first nigga that did drill music because he was going down, down, baby, yo street in the Range Rover, street sweeper.
Yep.
We know, right? Right. So I mean, but so how do you feel like that has even impacted the culture as far as in the Aboriginal community, as saying like, hey, do you feel like the gangs gave people something to reattach themselves to because they were lost? Like what are the people like? Were they lost there or trying to find themselves, or do a lot of people be able to connect to their indigenous roots of the land?
You know what? You hit it on the head, bro. You just said a mouthful. That's exactly what it is. A lot of the people in the neighborhood, you got to remember, man, like our city is and I like I said, I hate to say it, but it's just what it is. Our city is bred on a lot of violence, bro. And a lot of younger guys, even when I was younger, lost their pops in the streets. And so when you lose your father and you don't have that type of guidance, you're gonna look for the next best thing, and that's a gang. Because those gangs is gonna accept you. You can be who you are in those gangs. You ain't gotta change up. You can be exactly who you are, and everybody around you gonna accept you because they doing the same thing. And so those gangs, exactly. But when it comes to like the indigenous side of it, a lot of our people, honestly, I just think that's something that was in their blood, and that's just how they reacted based on what was in their blood. But they didn't,
Right.
they, a lot of us didn't grow up tapping into our indigenous roots as far as studying it and the know-how. We knew we was Indian because our grandparents, I got a video on my YouTube right now from a dude from St. Louis. I don't know if you know him. He was pretty big. His name was L.A. Foles. You ever heard of him? Yeah, he a rapper named L.A. Foles. He's pretty big, man. A lot of people know him. He got a lot of pictures with a lot of celebrities. I think he got some songs with him too. But I did it's a YouTube short of him on my YouTube shorts, and they asked him, he was on Say Cheese. He did a Say Cheese interview, and they asked him his race. And he was like, my grandparents full natives.
Yeah, I did see that. I did.
Yep. So like you will see all of us around us, every last one of us, we already knew who we were. We just never tapped into it as far as on a spiritual level. It just was something that was in our blood and we reacted naturally with what was naturally in us. But we never tapped into it on a spiritual level as far as this is who I am and this is how I need to carry myself because this is how my ancestors carried themselves.
Definitely. So the reason why I did that because I wanted to open up to say that gangs replaced our tribes and clans, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So, right. So can you kind of like, for the people that don't know, what tribal or excuse me, I'm not tired of my bad, y'all. But what are some of the tribes or clans that are common in the area that you're from?
People, well, from where I'm from, Choctaw, Cherokee, Cheyenne. Yeah, those three tribes, Choctaw, Cherokee, and Cheyenne. That's mostly what people are, because a lot of people came from the Kansas side of Missouri, and a lot of those people were Cheyenne Indians that came from that Kansas area and migrated to St. Louis. So a lot of that's what's in my area. Yep. And the gang, I don't mean to cut you off, but the gangs were at the beginning, the gangs were a good thing. The gangs actually protected the neighborhood. If you do the history on all the gangs, especially in my neighborhood, we had two gangs. We had one gang called the GICs, and we had another gang that was a girl gang called the Eels. They used to call themselves the Moles. The Moles, like Moors. They used to call themselves the Moles. Yeah. And they used to protect the neighborhood. It wasn't any type of gang banging or people killing each other. They actually came together made a agreement to come together to say, hey, we're going to protect the neighborhood from anybody that's doing this, doing that. They protected the people. It was a good thing at first.
Right. Until drugs came, right?
Until drugs came, absolutely.
And alcohol too, because the red man can't drink.
Exactly.